Okay, welcome everybody to our presentation today on SEO for small business with Business Tasmania and King Thing Marketing. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of this land and pay my respect to elders past and present. So my name is Bronwyn. I'm the Program Manager of the Business Tasmania service. And before I hand over the screen to our presenter today, I'm going to give you an overview of Business Tasmania and how we help the Tasmanian business community. So Business Tasmania primarily exists to make it easier for businesses to access support that's available through the state government and other programs that some of our partners have available. So the Business Tasmania service is a statewide, free and confidential service that's available to all Tasmanian small businesses. And we help businesses at all stages, right from those just starting out, so those with an idea, to those who are currently managing their business, and right through to those who are at the latter stage of the cycle, so those thinking of closing or perhaps exiting their business. We have a very wide range of support that's available for you. One of our fantastic services we have is our customer service line. So we have a phone line and an email service that you can contact us through. So we have staff available 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, to help with any business related question. And there's really no question that is too silly to ask us. We do our very best to connect you with the right or the most appropriate support for you. So that may be some referrals to some suitable organisations who deliver certain programs or can provide you with certain support and advice. We run a series of events throughout the year. We have quite a full calendar this year to help small businesses. So on our website, you can head to our calendar where we have all the business-related events that are supported by Business Tasmania on our calendar, and we run them both online and in person. So it's a great place to jump online and check out events that you may be able to attend in person in your city or also online like we're doing today. The third point there suggests we have business advisors and digital mentors available, and I'll go more into this in a moment because that's a very special service that we offer. And lastly, we have a whole host of information and tools and resources available on our website. So we have a great range of things like checklists and worksheets for you to work through to help you with various, business needs that you may have. It's, a great resource for you to check out. Okay, so our Tasmanian Business Advice Service. This is a great service that we at Business Tasmania run. It's a free and confidential service where you can access support from an experienced business advisor. And this is one-on-one support that is tailored to you. So it's not a webinar that they're going to run through with you. It's something that they will tailor to you and your specific questions and needs at the time. And this service has 2 different streams, and depending on how long you've been in business, you can access one of the 2 services. So the first one is called the Tasmania Business Advice Service, which is businesses who have had an ABN for 12 months or more, while the second stream is for new businesses. New Business Support Service is what it's called, and it's designed for those who've had an ABN for 12 months or less. And through this service, you can access up to 2 hours of free advice per financial year, whereas through the Tasmanian Business Advice Service, you can access up to 5 hours of support. And there's a range of advisors available across the state. So we have them in every region across Tasmania. And on the website, there's a list of the advisors and a breakdown of the kind of support that they can offer you with, some of their experience listed. So you can pick one that is, suitable for the need that you have at the time. So I highly encourage you all to use this service if you haven't already. And again, no question is too silly for this service. Most of the advisors have had their own business and have got a whole range of experience to help you along the way. So to sign up, you can head over to our website, which is businessadvice.tas.gov.au, or give us a call, and one of our friendly Business Tas team members will help you. We can get you signed up on the phone nice and easily for you. Okay, another service I'd like to tell you about today is the Employer of Choice Assist service. So this is designed for people who perhaps already have a team, or those who are thinking about bringing on staff in the near future. So it's there to help you with any, employment related question that you may have. And I know once you start employing people, there can be a lot of questions about that. So you may like to ask the Employer of Choice Assist advisor about things like, how do you attract new employees? How can you keep great employees? How can you build a more positive workplace? And more. It's certainly not limited to those options. And this service sits alongside the Employer of Choice Recognition Program, which is a Department of State growth run service, which is also worth checking out if you employ people. Another service for those of you who employ people is the Workplace Relations Helpline service. So through this service, business owners can access free and immediate advice through the Workplace Relations Helpline. So it is more immediate in the sense that we will be able to refer you on to the advisor on the same phone call when you call Business Tasmania. And through this service, you can get support with some of the big questions that you need around employing people, around things like compliance with Fair Work Act obligations, finding out about employee awards, making sure you're paying your staff correctly with the right rates, things like getting workplace policies and procedures developed, and much more. It's certainly not limited to these. And to access the service, you can just call us at Business Tasmania and we'll transfer you through to the advisor. And moving on to a service that can give you support access to digital mentors. The Digital Solutions Tasmania service is a federally funded service delivered by the Van Diemen Project. And this is designed to help you start your business and grow your business with a focus on building confidence with technology. And now it's not just about the tech in your business and getting the systems set up correctly. It's also where you can go to get advice on things like digital marketing, for example. So it's a fantastic service where you get 4 hours of one-on-one advice. Again, it's tailored to you and your needs. This one does come with a small fee, which I think is very good value for just $59. And also through the service, you can get access to various workshops and webinars and resources that the Digital Solutions Tasmania team deliver for you. Okay, so here's a screenshot of our current homepage. And I wanted to bring this up because there's one section of the website which a lot of business owners like to know about, and that is our funding and support section. So I highly encourage you to regularly jump onto our website and check out the funding and support page, because this is where you'll find information about our grant programs and any funding that's available that's supported by Business Tasmania. And in closing, I do invite you to connect with us. We have a Facebook page, and as I said before, we are available Monday to Friday, 9 till 5 by phone and email. We have a very friendly team who is more than happy to help you with any of your questions. And the last thing I wanted to mention to you was our newsletter. So we do release a weekly newsletter, which is where we usually share first about our funding programs, so any grant programs that are available, we announce through the newsletter, and any other support programs, and also news from some of our partner organisations. We'll share that on our newsletter. All right, that's enough for me. So I'll hand over to Rob to start sharing all of our SEO with us. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, hello everybody, and thanks, Bronwyn. So yeah, my name is Rob King. I'm the CEO of King Thing Marketing. So we've been playing in this SEO space and all things digital for 10 years now. King Thing just recently celebrated our 15th year in existence, but really the SEO journey started about 10 years ago. So we've got a little bit of experience under our belt. We are a full service marketing agency, so SEO is certainly something that we don't absolutely just specialize in, but we do build websites, we do strategy, we do social media, and of course we do this this SEO piece. So I'll share my screen. And we'll get things underway. So the approach we've taken today is this is SEO for small business, and it's about helping you get found online. And so what we're going to cover very quickly today is what is SEO and why is it important for small businesses. We're going to look at a couple of technical elements, but this is just to give you some background information to help understand how SEO works from search engines' point of view, and that can help us understand why it's important to write good content. We're going to talk about SEO and the relationship it has to a good user experience. We're going to have a look at some of the recommendations from Google in terms of what we need to do with our content to be found. And then, AI, really interesting space. It's still an emerging piece within SEO, but we've got a couple of tips for you in terms of utilizing AI for content and SEO, and to be found in AI searches as well. I'm going to spend some time kind of talking about some of those practical steps to be found online. And then the last two things we'll look at is some of the free tools that are available that can help manage and monitor your SEO journey. And then as part of your registration for this session, there were quite a number of questions. So I do answer a lot of those during this presentation, but at the end, I'll just address a couple of the specific ones, and then that will round us out. All right, so SEO is search engine optimization. And essentially what this is, it's the ability of your website to be found in relevant searches. And the important thing here, it's about getting more of the right visitors to your website. It's not that difficult to get traffic to your website, but it's about getting the right traffic to your website. And in fact, if you are getting wrong traffic to your website, if people are leaving your site without kind of getting anything fulfilled, then that actually Google sees that as a negative thing to do with your website. And the way that we like to think of it is if you've got a bricks and mortar business and it's in the central area of Devonport, you want to make your streetscape stand out. So you might have an A-frame, you might have lighting, you might have a nice awning, you might have some graphic design elements in your shop window to make your shop stand out. And this is the piece that SEO does for us in the digital marketing space. So why is it important for small business? So we all need customers, we all need new customers. So it's important for small business to be able to get noticed. And so what we do know is even if somebody hears about your business or brand, 80% of people are going to go straight to Google and check you out. So it's important to have that web presence. It's important to be found for your own business. And of course, we're all looking for new customers. And so what we want to do through our SEO is attract more website visitors, so more clicks, more potential customers. And whilst there is a technical element to SEO, some of the fundamentals, some of those basics, really, it is free to set up. And a lot of the platforms that your websites are built in make it relatively simple to do that. So you don't have to employ somebody like King Thing Marketing to help you with your SEO. It is something that you can do for free, except for your time, of course. And as I said before, it's about reaching the right people that are looking for your services or products. And what we do know is, especially for small businesses, they'll set up their website and then they'll forget about it. They don't set up the SEO side of things and they don't contribute to the website regularly. And so then a lot of people are left scratching their heads as to why they're not getting any new customers. So it is a work in progress. and it is something that needs to be attended to quite regularly. But many people do skip the SEO piece. And in fact, when I was looking through the questions that have been asked as part of your registration, there was a number of websites that failed a few SEO tests. So it's good that those people have registered for today. So I suppose a bit of background just to give context as to how this SEO piece actually works. So Google does rule our digital universe. So when it comes to this SEO piece, they do set the agenda for all other platforms. So Microsoft follow them, the Yahoos, all of the other search engines do follow what Google does, and they actually do talk to each other to make sure they're all doing something that's similar, but Google certainly leads the way. So Google has a thing that they call their spider bot, or their Google bot. And so what happens is these automated bots, they head to your website on a regular basis to understand what you're currently up to, what your website's about, what your services are, what your products are. So some of the terms that you might have heard of before is about crawling. So this is where those spider bots, on average once a month, they enter your site via links. And we're going to talk about the different types of links a little bit later and the importance. But straight off the bat here is an important. Lots of links means lots of opportunities for spider bots to come and crawl your website. So one of the things that we want to make sure is that we've got clear navigation on our site, and we've got a site map that Google can follow to know where to go within your website. Another term that's often used is about indexing. So Google stores all of the data that they collect, and they index it, and they store it on massive servers around the world. So for us, having an awesome website, but also having great content is absolutely paramount. And we want to have a nice, easy structure for page content, using clear headings and making sure everything is logical for the user, but also for Google to index. And we hear about algorithms a fair bit, and Google changed their SEO algorithm between 400 and 500 times a year. So some of those times the changes might be only very, very minute. It might be, we're going to put an emphasis on the geographic location of the searcher, and we're going to dial that up for a week or two. Or it might be, we're going to focus on making sure that we've read all of the headings that are on websites, and we're going to place a little bit more emphasis on that. So if you do track your SEO performance, and even if you go and look weekly, you'll see that your ranking might jump around a fair bit, and that's either because Google are changing their algorithm, or your competitors are up to something as well. So yeah, it's important that we kind of keep in mind that Google is coming to our site at least once a month, and that's a clear indication that we need to be updating our sites as a minimum once a month. So yeah, this is a bit hard to look at, and we won't stay here for too long, but essentially Google, this is what they're indexing. They're looking through all of the back end of your website, and they're having to sort through all of your coding to find your data. And so with our headings, with our text, everything is marked up in a certain way for Google to know where to go. So yeah, really important to have that content structure nice and neat. So right at the top of the list of importance with SEO is making sure that the user experience is absolutely brilliant for your potential customers. So user experience, so UX, is what we shorten it to. As I've said, they're best friends. Google wants to rank websites that give users a fantastic experience, and that experience is in a number of different elements. But some of the top ones are your website speed. So we all get frustrated when we're trying to load a website and it takes longer than 3 seconds. So Google does love fast sites. If you've got your website over here and a competitor over there, and you've got pretty similar content and your competitors is faster than yours, Google will rank theirs higher than yours. So nailing that website speed is really important. we will give you a tool near the end of the presentation that you can go and find out what your page speed is like. These days, just about every website building platform makes your website mobile friendly, so that's really important. The other thing to think about is, particularly if you are a business, if you're dealing with direct to customers rather than B2B, it's likely that 70 to 80% of your traffic will be through mobile phones. So yeah, the important thing here is to either design or redesign your web pages for mobile first. And so, on desktop, we sometimes have nice, large, wide and deep images. They don't work so well on mobiles. It might be that we have long pages of content. So if we're designing for mobile first, if they're long pages of content, we might use accordions, or we might use linking text to get people to the right areas. So yeah, really important that websites are mobile friendly and that they're designed for mobile. Easy navigation is another important thing. So customers need to find things fast. We're getting less and less patient. And so having a simple navigation structure. So the best practice is between 5 and 7 at that upper level of your navigation is where we want to be. And we don't want to make it too onerous. Sometimes we, especially with digital marketing agencies, we like to be creative and clever. Sometimes we can be too creative and clever, and it makes it hard for people to actually understand where they need to go to. So making that site map, making sure everything is clear and concise is a really good thing to do. And strong call to actions. So some of our websites, they serve two audiences. One might be, a good example is a restaurant. So if you're a local and you want to go to your favorite restaurant, you want to go to their website, click the book now button. You don't have to read anything. There's nowhere you need to go. So you want to make sure those call to actions serve your audience well. If you do need to step people through content, having regular calls to action, so people, if they've made their decision, they can take action straight away. So you can have those, typically top right is where we have the main call to action. But if it's a long web page, you might want it in your footer or even halfway down the page as well. So those call to actions can be book now, check availability, contact us, shop now, buy, free discovery call, whatever's important for your business. Make sure that those call to actions are evident, and indeed that it's only one click away from people being able to take action. And we're going to talk about this a lot. High quality content, that is so important. So a lot of us in small business, we write content based on what we do. And a lot of time we don't necessarily answer the questions that people might have, or we don't provide the information that they need to make a decision. And so it's about thinking about how your customers might think and providing the content that they need. You might want to talk about your 5-step process that's proven and you've done for years, but yeah, the customer might not care so much about the process. They just want to know what's in it for them. So making sure it's high quality content that speaks to your customer. And one of those things that you can do, it sounds a bit old-fashioned, but blog posts still have a place in web content, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. And readability is something else that Google is getting quite strict on. So this falls into the bucket of accessibility. And so we want to make sure that our fonts aren't too small, that they aren't too fancy, that the spacing and the kerning and the headings are just right. And another one is that making sure that we're not using too many bright colors where there's text over colors and there's not enough contrast. And so one of the things that you can do to overcome that is use an accessibility app, and there's certainly some free ones that we use, and then that puts the user in control. So if they have got hearing impairment or their eyesight isn't what it needs to be, they can click the accessibility icon and then increase the font or have the page read to them. So that's another element in terms of that user experience. So that in itself is probably a whole kind of webinar all on its own. And whilst Google don't tell us when they're going to change their algorithm, or they don't generally tell us when they have a major change, they do give us a few tips about this SEO piece, and one is this EEAT. What that stands for is expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So when we're writing content, we want to keep those things in mind. So it's not good enough just to say, this is what I do. You've got to be able to demonstrate that you are an expert in that field. And so one of those things that might help is, some case studies or guides or some examples. And so one of the frustrations for a lot of people, especially in social media land, it's so easy for people to appear to be experts. Some people do a 20-minute YouTube clip, and then they think they're an expert on whatever subject it is. And if they've got an authoritative voice and they sound confident, then it can be quite convincing. But on our web pages and with our content, we want to try and demonstrate what that experience is. So we can share personal stories. We can give those hands-on tips. We can talk about like a personal example of when something might have worked, or when it might not have worked as well. And are you recognized as an authority? So if you've got a bio on your website and you're personally talking about a subject, you can link to your bio. If you've been quoted on social media, or if you're in LinkedIn, or whatever way that you can demonstrate that you're an authority, you can link out to those things. And this last one, this trustworthiness, is kind of in two parts. One is to make sure that the website is completely secure. So there's some security protocols. Most website platforms take care of this, and your web developers would take care of it, but making sure that your site is secure. You'll know if a set site is not secure, there'll be a bit of a red flag when you open that website. And then again, that trustworthiness is, provide some reviews or some testimonials to demonstrate that you are an expert and that you're trustworthy. So this is something directly from Google, and they've been talking about this for a number of years. So it's a little bit of a guide when we're thinking about content. So we had a number of questions in the registration about SEO and AI. So AI, as we know, it is moving at such a rapid pace. It is absolutely incredible how quickly things are moving. We use all of the Google Suite products rather than Microsoft, and every day I get an email to say this is an update on what we've done, and in the AI space, it is changing so much. So I'm going to talk about two things to do with SEO and AI. First is generating content using AI. So you might think, I need to have a new page on my website, and I want to talk about all the experiences that are available in my region. So you can go to AI and you can prompt it and you can get that content. And so certainly we use AI in our business. We use it in three different ways, really. And that first way is to generate some ideas, to generate some outlines for things like presentations like here, and to create drafts. So it still does need that human element, especially when we're speaking about content for your website. So you've always got to edit it, you've always got to fact check it, and you've got to put your unique touch on it, put your own tone of voice behind it. You've got to put your brand behind it. And so, AI is very much a tool, but it certainly won't replace you or any of your staff just yet. And I'll give you a personal example. I'm not great at writing content, and thankfully I've got some great content writers in the team, but I did do a social media post the other day. And so I wrote it, and then I put it into AI and said, can you improve this? So I did it, and I sent it to my wife to proofread it, and I said proofread it and fix it, and she put her own little stamp on it. And then I went to one of our other staff and gave it to them, and they said, did you generate this in AI? And I said, well, no, I had it checked in AI, but they could recognize just one simple thing that AI often does that I hadn't picked up. So when you know what to look for, you can tell when content is written by AI. So it's super important that you put your own personal touch. So that's generating content for, using AI to generate content. And then there's appealing in AI searches itself. So up here we've got here, this is about the way that we search or prompt. So in search engines, we do searches, best accommodation in Hobart. But in AI, we don't just search, we prompt. We might say, what's the best accommodation in Hobart? And it will start to give us results. Then we'll give it another prompt. What's something that's close to the water? Yeah, show me of those, which ones are have a spa bath. So we're constantly kind of prompting and feeding it to get the answers that we want. So the key for that really is that we've got to make sure that when we're writing content, if we want to appeal in those AI searches itself, we've got to make sure that our content is conversational. So Google itself is using and has been using AI for years. They just haven't kind of said it. AI has been around for probably 10 years easily. It's just hasn't been called AI. But yeah, our role when it comes to providing content, it is very much about writing for the customer and writing naturally. And so this is some of those tips. So I can't remember the term. It's something like sentinel. So AI content lacks emotion, so it can sound robotic. So if you can put a little bit more emotion into your content, add that human voice, that's important. And this is probably the biggest part of it, is to write conversationally. And so AI, when it's generating content, will use terms like 2 words like can, not, rather than can't. So when we're writing content, we want to use those contractions, and we want to use that friendly tone. And the reason why we're talking about writing content conversationally, it is to appeal to those prompts. It's because we're using long tail keywords or long phrases rather than short tail or short keywords. So yeah, making sure we write conversationally is really important. And get your brand's voice well and truly heard in that content. Tell stories that are personal to you or personal to your business that can't be refuted. Use those testimonials. Be authentic. And of the 2 things for writing for being found in AI searches, yes, write conversationally is the important one, but also give attribution. And so that will be giving credit to the author. And think about it in terms of a blog post. If you're familiar with blog posts, that will always give a date stamp of when the blog post was published, but it also will say who the author is. And then what we can do is, for the author, we can link them to their bio within that website, or we can link to their LinkedIn bio, or we can link to any other content that they have generated. And that is the second big thing for generating content on your website to appeal in AI searches. All right, so what we're going to talk about now is some actual practical steps to be found online. There's so many different platforms that are available, so we can't really get too specific. But what we're about to cover now is transferable across every single platform for websites. So the first place that we start is keyword research. And what this is understanding the terms that people are typing into search engines to find businesses, to find products, to find services. And so what we've got to make sure is that we're matching keywords to the content that we've got on our website. So I can give you an example for King Thing. So if we're talking about developing a website, we would say that we're website developers. But we know from experience that people don't look for website developers, they look for web designers. And so we have content, we have a couple of pages on our website that are using those different terms that people are keying into search engines. So it's making sure that we do appeal to the right kind of searches. So you can use some tools to find out what those keywords are. So if you use Google Ads, They have a keyword planner. That's a great tool. There's another tool, Uber Suggest. I haven't used that one for a little while. WordStream is free. So these are all free. WordStream allows you like 10 or 15 free searches to get the data that you want. So here's an example. This is a paid tool that we use. So I've done the search accommodation in Hobart, and the column to look at here is you can see that there's 40,500 searches that are done in Australia on average every month. This tool dives out into Google Land and looks at a year's worth of data and provides that average. We can see over here there's a bit of a jumpy graph. So this is, you know, the high period. This will be the winter period. So it does fluctuate, but we can see there's a lot of people that search. The other interesting thing is that that advertisers are paying $2.26 per click to your website through Google search ads. So the tool that we use here does give us lots of other suggestions, and it goes for pages and pages. So you can troll through that and find those keywords that are important. Now, if you're an accommodation in Hobart, let's say that you're an Airbnb, it would be almost pointless to try and rank for this specifically, in that there's so many people trying to do the same thing. So that's where we want to try and target these long tail keywords. So we're going to target something that's a little bit more specific. There'll be less searches, but we're more likely to be found for those searches. So this is a second search here. We're doing 2-bedroom apartments in Hobart. So that's getting a little bit more specific, and a substantially less amount of searches. They're a cheaper option when it comes to Google Ads. But for a small business, then it's more likely that you'll be able to rank for a keyword like that. So again, once we do that search, we can scroll down the page to see what else there might be that appeals. So it's so one of the questions we often get asked is, can I try and rank for multiple keywords? Absolutely. If they're similar keywords, you can rank for multiple keywords on the one page. If you're just starting out on your SEO journey, it's a good idea to focus on your best keyword in the first instance, and you can grow the suite of keywords that you want to rank for. All right, so let's say we understand what are the keywords that we want to rank for, and well, how do we use these? So there's a few areas that we can use them. So some of these you set up in the back end of your website. We still call that on-page SEO because they are customer facing. They are accessible to your users. So the first one, and these are not in any particular order, is page titles. The page title in the example here is Launceston website design. So we've used the keyword of Launceston website design for the keyword for this particular page. And then the next one is headings. So if you're familiar with Microsoft products like Microsoft Word or Google Docs, they all use a hierarchy of headings to set up documents. So you'll see heading 1s, heading 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. So this is primarily to help format a page, but where that actually comes from is from web design, and that's the hierarchy of importance of the page structure. So the H1 is the most important one. That's where you can pack a keyword into that. And if you can use H2s, H3s with keywords or related keywords, then that's a good thing. And just a tip with headings there, Google likes us to have one H1 per page. You can have multiple H2s and multiple H3s. So serves two purposes. One, SEO, most importantly for user experience, for people to find their way through your content. The third one there is just that regular paragraph text. So best practice if you're writing content that's 4 or 5 paragraphs long, you want to try and get those keywords in there at least 3 times if it's practical. And the rule of thumb here is if you're struggling to use it, don't do it. The most important thing is that user experience. We want to make sure we're serving our customers best. But if we can get those keywords in 3 times. In the olden days, we used to have to get those keywords right next to each other. These days, we don't have to. Google's smart enough, their algorithm is smart enough to understand what we're trying to rank for. So like, if you were having a heading for Hobart accommodation, it might be welcome to your next stay in Hobart. Our accommodation is right next to the waterfront. So, Hobart and accommodation were miles apart in that sentence, and that's totally fine. Google, if you're repeating those phrases, will understand what your website is and what you're trying to rank for. The fourth one here is to write catchy meta titles and descriptions. Again, these are set up in the back end of your website, but they are customer facing. So here is the description here. And at the moment, Google doesn't really get inside your images to understand them. I think they're pretty close to being able to do that. But what you can do is when you load a new image to your website, before you even load the image, you can actually rename the image to be the keyword that you want to rank for. So in the instance for King Thing's website design page, it might be, we'll name the image King Thing marketing website design in Launceston, JPEG. And the extension to that is all web platforms offer this thing called alt text or alternate text, where you can put a bit of a description in to describe what the photo is. Again, we can put some keywords in there as well to help Google understand what our pages are all about. So local SEO. So many of us have businesses where we've got bricks and mortar as well as what we do online. So having a good Google business profile is absolutely essential. So this literally puts you on the Google map. And I've already referenced that Google will turn up and down what your geographic, the geographic location of where the searcher is. So if I do a search, I'm based in Launceston, in the CBD. I do a search best restaurant in Launceston. The results that I see will be different than if I go to a suburb in the north or the south of the city. It's using my location based on those search terms as well to return the business that it thinks that I want to see. Yeah, something else that's sometimes overlooked is making sure that when we do have a bricks and mortar business as well as that online presence, is to make sure that our name and address and phone number is consistent through the website. So this is one of the verifications that Google does. So many of us have our address in our footer and we have it on our contact page. You've got to make sure that it is exactly the same and that you've formatted exactly in the same. So if you're Unit 2, on one line in your footer, you want to have it on one line on your contact page. Then you have your address, and it doesn't matter what format it is, as long as it's consistent. It's a check that we know Google does to make sure that you're legitimate and you are where you say you are as well. And for those businesses that are totally online, you still have a Google business profile. You can just say that you service the Tasmania, or you service Australia, or you service Devonport, whatever area you want to nominate, you can do that. So that's an absolute must to do. And I mentioned before that Google does rule our digital universe. We want to make them happy as best we can. So yeah, we've said about having that Google business profile, having a Google Analytics account, which is free. Google Analytics is just the tool that measures our web traffic. And we can set up lots of different things to measure that are unique to our own website. So it might be, measuring contact forms, or you can connect your e-commerce site and it'll bring in dollars. The other one that is one that gets overlooked a little bit is Google Search Console. So for every new website that we build, we create a Google Search Console account. It takes 5 minutes. And this literally gives you the opportunity to tell Google that this is a new website. Or if you've got an existing website, you can say, I've just updated my website. Here's the sitemap. Can you go and trawl this as soon as possible? So then, yeah, within 7 days, hopefully Google would have been to your website to regather all of that information through their spider bots. The other benefit of Google Search Console is that it does give you some valuable SEO information. It will tell you the search terms that people are coming to your website for, and will give you, it's a worldwide ranking, so it looks sometimes a little bit skewed, but it'll give you a worldwide ranking for that term. So if you're wanting to rank for two-bedroom apartments in Hobart and you're not seeing that as one of the keywords you're being found for, then you know you've got to do something a little bit more in that SEO space. So that's a super useful tool. All of those are free to use. All right, so we've referenced a number of times about content and how important that is. And with all of the technical stuff that comes with having a website, this is still the thing that will help your website rank the best. And a good way to do that is with a blog post. And so blogs do sound like they're a bit old school, but you can name them whatever you want. You can name them something really really quirky and interesting. But what a blog post does, it does that date stamp. It can say who the author is. And Google loves seeing those blog posts because they see that date as soon as they crawl your website. And so if you're generating a blog post a month, then that's going to keep Google really, really happy. And you want to make sure that you're answering some of those questions that you're regularly being asked about your customers. It's another place to show expertise and, yeah, keeping Google very happy with that fresh content. Now, earlier I said how those spider bots come to your websites through links. So there's three types of links that we're going to talk about. One is internal links. So that's where you might be sending people from your homepage. You might have had a paragraph about 3 of your services, and then to find out more information, you send them to more detail if they need it. So that's an internal link in between pages on your own website. Best practice, if you can, is rather than say click here or read more, if you can, it's not always possible, is to use a keyword in that linking text. So again, just a tiny little tip there. The other external, there's an external link. So this is where you're linking to other sites. So if you can link to high traffic websites, so think about media websites or some of your supplier websites. If you can link to government websites, so there's extra value seen in government websites and education websites. So the .tas.edu.au, Google recognizes that this is a credible site. Every website is given a credibility and an authority score, and certainly the more links that you have with higher authority, then that's seen as a positive thing. But the most powerful type of link is the hardest one to get. It's backlinks. So as business owners, we'd all get emails from various countries, people offering us to buy links to high traffic, high authority websites. Most of those are genuine businesses, although they are very, very spammy. But it is a genuine SEO strategy. I would not encourage you to respond to those kind of emails, but do your own Google search and go to an authoritative site to get some to possibly get some links that are really important. But from a local point of view, what you can do is, if you are linking to a supplier, if you're linking to a parent company, if you're linking to like friends in business websites, if you're recommending anyone, a good strategy is to contact them and see if they will link back to you. There's plenty of tools to go and see how many backlinks websites have, so you can go to competitors and find out how many backlinks they have. But just a word of warning, if you do enter into an agreement with somebody to get backlinks, you don't want to go too hard too early. If you all of a sudden increase by 30, 40 backlinks, Google will see that as a negative tactic. It's best to grow those slowly and organically, but those backlinks are important. All right, so some of the tools that are available. If you do a search for Google Page Speed Test, so this tests, you can enter your URL and it will give you a user experience score. So it's an overall score out of 100. It will do a page speed test. You only get a green light at 90 out of 100. So it's pretty harsh on page speed. It also will give you an SEO score, and it will give you a accessibility score as well. So super useful tool. And the benefit is it will tell you if there's anything particularly wrong with your site. It will give you some of that. So one of the common things, if you've got images that are too large and slowing down your website, it will tell you those. A lot of the other recommendations might be a bit high-end, and it might be one to throw to your developer. Some of the paid tools, the one that we use is Web CEO. A really popular one is SEMrush. So if you're really serious about SEO and wanting to track your website regularly, they're both some tools that are good. An extension that we use for Google, which is free, it's called SEO Quake, and we run it all the time on websites. So it does 21 simple tests, and it tells whether you pass the SEO tools or not. So yeah, we use that when we're mentoring clients, or when we're just onboarding clients, and if we're stalking their competitors as well. That's a really useful tool. That will also tell you what keywords they are ranking for. We also mentioned it from keyword planning, that the keyword planner in Google Ads is an awesome tool to use. WordPress is a website. 40% of websites in the world are built on that platform. So there's plugins that are really great for managing SEO, one being Yoast. There's both free and a premium version. So again, they give you scores like a green light, red light, or an orange light in terms of your pages. You can assign what you want to rank for in terms of keywords, and it will tell you, it will give you recommendations on what you can do to improve your SEO performance. And that's the same with all-in-one SEO. They have a free and a premium version as well. All right, we're going to quickly run out of time, so I'll skim through these very, very quickly. So these were some of the questions that were asked for people that were participating. Can Squarespace SEO very well? Yes, it's super simple. You start with the home page. There's a little cog next to each page. You click the SEO tab and you start prompting. It does have AI, which will generate all of your SEO assets for you. You just have to go and edit them to make sure you're happy with them. So trip planning. So for people in the tourism industry, this is something that's becoming quite evident. People are turning to ChatGPT to create itineraries. So that might be, coming to Tassie for 10 days. I like mountain biking. Do a itinerary, but then using that prompt methodology, I want to go to Cradle Mountain and I want to go to Coles Bay as well. And so it will build there. So again, if you're wanting to appeal in those kind of searches, there's two things that are mostly be conversational with the content. And in that example with trip planning, put some suggested itineraries around what your product is, whether you're accommodation or whether you are an experience. Create your own itineraries. And so then over time, ChatGPT will hopefully pick those up. Kate asked, is using multiple domains to redirect to the main site, is that a legitimate SEO strategy? Not so much these days. It used to be, so don't go and purchase extra domains to try and achieve that. If you've got domains that are very similar, so we use KingThing, for example. We use kingthingmarketing.com and we use KingThing kingthing.com.au as well. And you can point to that one site, but don't go out of your way. It used to be an SEO strategy, but not so much more. Josie asked about having multiple businesses on one site and whether that will dilute SEO. It depends. So if your customers are going to be similar, if they are brand aligned, then you can absolutely rank for them, both on an SEO from the SEO point of view. But if they are different, I would be going for different websites. Somebody asked about SEO and GoDaddy. I find GoDaddy a bit kind of backward when it comes to SEO, and the question did involve about adding another product. If you're serious about getting traffic, I would look at going to a different platform, to be honest. And then another question was around SEO for a podcast website. So I had a look at this website. So there's very little content. So it's hard for it to be found because there's very little content. So maybe using excerpts from those podcast episodes and the older ones, providing a full extract of the conversation would be something to get the content level higher and help it be found. All right, so just to round things up, so SEO is an ongoing journey, and if you're serious about it, the discipline should be at least once a month to look at your SEO to create content. But start slow, start small, tick those easy things that are to do, and just keep building on your SEO that way. That's me done. And I've gone right to 1 o'clock, Brian.
Fantastic, Rob. Thank you. Well done for keeping it on 1 o'clock. That's awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And thank you again, Rob, for presenting and sharing your wisdom on SEO. It's very interesting to hear some of the updates. It's an ever-evolving space, so it's good to get the latest on SEO. If anyone does want to rewatch, we'll have it on YouTube next week at some time. So yeah, sing out to us at Business Tasmania if you have any questions about today's presentation, or reach out to Rob. And yeah, also reach out to us if you have any other questions about Business Tas and what we can help you with. Otherwise, have a good day, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.